How's it going? So we've left the bow on the wall today and we're taking the 243 out for a walk. We haven't taken it for a little while, so yeah, just after a nice handy meat animal hopefully. It's a beautiful winter's day. We're in some really nice native bush. Bit of regen, bit of kanuka, bit of kawa and some older stuff too, some big old pigeon wood in here. Bit of tawa, lots of kiki, and a lot of deer. So yeah, we're just going to sneak down this face a little way. The wind's blowing up towards us, which is perfect. We're just going to walk down into the wind when we find some nice game trails. The first nice trails are going around the side. I'm going to get on them and start sneaking around the side. It's about midday, middle of winter, sunny day. Deer are probably not going to be moving at the moment. They'll probably be bedded down on spurs and little sheltered spots where they feel like they can hear everything coming. So take our shoes off, sneak along, and every time we pop up over a ridge, we're going to be looking for those little lookout spots where deer like to sit during the day, or they like to have a sleep, on little ledges and yeah, little plateaus on the tops of spurs, but also even down in guts. Sometimes they have a bed in the punga gut. Anyway, we'll see how we go. Hopefully we can pick one up. Sweet. Oh, awesome, man. We got our animal, perfect meat animal, a nice young spiker, and a really neat stalk too. I'm glad I didn't have the bow today because that shot would have been impossible with the bow. Yeah, even with the rifle I was humming and hawing about whether I should take that shot through all the katoa vine, but yeah, there was a nice clear spot through that gap. It was only about 30 metres, and I know I can hit a milk bottle cap at 30 metres pretty easy with that rifle, so I knew I was pretty safe with that, but you never know. It was good to see the deer didn't go anywhere. So yeah, we've got him gutted and he's just cooling down now. A fair bit of steam coming out of that carcass, so yeah, I'll pack up my stuff and we'll lug him up the hill, back to the motorbike. Sweet. So we better have one of these before we go. Right, so I've changed my mind about what I'm going to do. The darkness is setting in pretty quick. It doesn't look like it on the camera because I've got the exposure cranked right up, but so that you guys can see what we're doing. But yeah, it's a lot darker than it looks. So yeah, I thought instead of coming back tomorrow for that lighter stuff, all the organs and tripe and head and that, I thought we may as well come back tomorrow for the heavy load when we can see what we're doing. We don't have to rush, so we're just going to hang them up for tonight. I don't have any string, and it can be pretty tricky hanging up a big animal by yourself in the bush, or even with someone else sometimes. The best way that I've found to do it is to drag them up onto a bit of a bank like that. If you can find a nice V in a tree. This kawa tree's got a pretty good one. Looks nice and strong. So my plan is to drag our spiker up there and we'll sort of lean him against that tree. And I've cut a nice strong piece of pigeon wood here, nice and straight. Sort of thread that in one of the legs on one side of that V, and then it's nice and long, this stick, so we can kind of lever it up and thread our other leg through, and then we just let it swing off there and it'll dangle underneath. Sounds good anyway, we'll give it a crack. So we just lever it up like that, lift this leg up. I don't know if you can see this, I don't want to let the stag go, but I've made my stick a bit too long, but the gap between this leg and the end of the stick is too long, so I'm struggling to get this other leg threaded into the stick here. So I'm just going to saw it off, make it a bit shorter, and then I'll be able to thread it on, no worries. So yeah, that's one way of doing it. It's probably the easiest way I've found, but I'm no expert. if you're anything like me, you've probably spent a lot of time huffing and puffing trying to hang an animal in the bush. I know I have. But yeah, he's hung up there nicely, not even touching the ground. Should cool down. Beauty overnight. Nice and clean in there. No blood sitting in the bottom of the rib cage there. She's all looking good. And the last thing we're going to do before we leave him behind, spray him with a bit of peppermint oil. Make sure those flies don't get into him. It's winter time, so should be pretty good. But there was a blowfly on it pretty much the moment that he fell over or went to sleep, so there's a few around. Sweet, so we're just going back into the bush to get that deer that we shot the other day. And yeah, I was planning on coming back the next morning, but the weather's been really nice. We've had a frost every single night for the last 3 days, so I thought the best place for it is probably in here. It's a nice cool spot where it's hanging up, and yeah, we've had really cold nights, so that meat's going to be well set. It's bloody, it should be mint. Just following this little wash here, this waterway. I made a mental note when we shot the deer that we followed a little gut directly below it down to when we got to this wash, and then we walked straight up the wash pretty much. So I've broken a couple of ferns down where the gut hits this wash, and I also made a few scuffs on the ground. That way we shouldn't have any trouble finding the deer again. It's always handy to make a few of those mental notes whenever you leave something in the bush. There's our fern. Our deer's up there. There we are. Just how we left it. Oh, there is a fly in there. Meat's nice and cold. Can't see any eggs or maggots. She looks prime.